Hey guys, I am back for another tutorial and I wanted to preface this video by saying for anyone who's new, I am not a Photoshop or Lightroom guru. So if you're looking for someone who fully understands the software, I am not your gal, but there are plenty of people out there who are amazing at the software and all of the technical aspects of it. And I would highly recommend something like Flearn. They are great with teaching you everything you need to know about Photoshop. So I'm not going to get into how I edited this in Lightroom, but I'll just kind of walk you through it. I cropped the image. I actually really liked the white balance and the exposure straight out of the camera, so I left those alone. I did bring the shadows up to 30 because there was a section under her hair that was pretty dark. So I did bring that up, and I did bring the vibrance up to 15. And I also just sharpened, unfortunately this image is out of focus, but it was one of the best ones I had of her in this setting. So I sharpened it to 70 and then I reduced the noise to 30. So that being said, let's head straight into Photoshop where I have this image now. I want to just kind of do more of a simple edit with this. And so I am going to go to Layer, New Layer, and hit OK. And I am going to take the eyedropper tool and click on a green color up in this kind of background area here. And as you notice, it changed this top box down here to green. So I'm going to take my brush. That means I can now use that color. And I'm going to go onto this layer and just kind of paint over. If I can get my Photoshop to work here. I'm going to paint over this. You know what, guys? I may have to actually pause this video and restart my computer because my Photoshop is acting kind of wonky. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm just going to paint some of that green over this backdrop. Like I said, everything's kind of wonky right now. I don't know why. And I'm obviously not going to leave it like this. So what I'm going to do is lower the opacity of that layer to around like 35. And as you can see, it just kind of added a little dulling of that background a little bit. In fact, I think I'm going to go right through here and do a little more of that. It makes it so this background is not so prominent. Okay, might even do a little here. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, and I don't know if I'm going to do it in this video for the sake of time, but I might, if I were just doing this image, I would probably take out the tree stump over here and also some of the trees back here, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to edit this without doing any of the detailed work. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves, and I am going to go to the RGB channel and pull down the center. Pretty dark. Now, I obviously don't want her to stay that way, so what I'm going to do is take the round marquee tool and I am going to draw this around her. And then I'm going to take a soft black brush. I know that it's a black brush because this top box is black, and I'm going to go onto this white layer and I'm just going to paint. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Actually, sorry guys. Once I draw that marquee tool, I want to show you something. I'm actually going to right click hit feather to 400. And then I'm going to take my black brush on this white layer, and I'm just going to paint that saturated color off of her skin. Now, again, if I can get my computer to work faster than a snail's pace here, because I don't want her skin to be overly dark and saturated. So by feathering this little tool, I just kind of go around. And then I think actually what I might do is switch this brush back to white, and that paints on, or like, so whatever I just did, like I take the white brush and it's going to add back that curve or that darkness. I think I'm going to add a little bit of darkness to her just close here and really try to focus on her face, keeping her face lighter. Just go back in here and add a little more dark. Okay, now after this, I am going to, oh, my computer is so slow, guys. I'm really sorry. I'm going to hit select, deselect. And as you can see, it just kind of added a nice dark tone. There's a little bit of darkness around her head, or lightness that I don't like. So I'm going to take that white brush again and just go in there and just gently go around the edges of her head and just add a little bit more of that darkness from the curves back in there. So as you can see, it just adds a little more depth. Then I'm going to mess around with this. I think I'm going to go to layer, new adjustment, layer, exposure, and just bring up the offset a little bit. Let's see if I can get this to work. I don't want to do a lot, but just a bit. Just until I kind of give it like that matte look. And then I don't want that on her face again, so I'm going to just go down here. And I am going to take my brush, make sure it's black again, and just go in and take that off of her skin, that matte effect. Hopefully I can get that to work. My computer again is going so slow. Okay, actually, just forget that one. I'm gonna try it like this. There we go. So I'm just going to go in here and take some of that matte off her skin, like so. Because I don't want her to be so matte. Now I'm going to just mess around with the colors of this image. So I'm going to go into, let's go, I don't know, let's try a selective color. Let's mess around with, let's see here. Let's try the yellows and just kind of mess around with the different sliders. I really like how vibrant that orange is. So I'm going to put it right there at -66, and then I'm going to hit Command I, and that's going to switch this layer to black. That means it covered up whatever I did. And then I'm going to take this white brush by clicking over here, and I am going to just go in and go over these orange leaves like so. Now, obviously, I would be really detailed if I were doing this as an actual image, but since I know you guys don't want to spend like an hour watching a Photoshop video, I try to make these pretty quick. I've got a couple distractions going on right now while I'm doing this, so I hope that I'm making everything very clear. So as you can see, it just kind of changed that color to more of an orange. Now I don't really like the color of the green. So what I'm going to do is mess around with that and try to just kind of not make that so neon looking. So I'm going to go back again into layer, new adjustment layer, selective color, and then I'm going to go to the greens and just mess with the slider. Now that's not doing much for me, so I'm going to go to the yellows and see if that helps more. And we'll just kind of mess around with that. Ooh, that's really green. That adds some yellow into it that I don't want. I just mess around with these until I kind of get what I like. Oh, that orange is actually really pretty. Let's see here. I think I might keep the green right there. So I have that set to, it's on the yellows slider. I have it set to +40, +27, and -16 or -16. So I am going to hit Command I and convert that back over to a black layer mask. I'm going to take my white brush again and just go in here and kind of paint over the yellowish green spots. Again, if you're doing this for an actual image, you're going to want to be detailed and thorough, but since I'm just doing it for a video, I'm not overly in depth here. Just go back in there, kind of go through and get in there with that yellow. Now, one thing I'm going to also do is I'm going to bring this opacity down of that layer just a little bit. Probably right about there. And then one thing I'm going to do down here is I'm going to go to layer, new layer, hit OK. And then I'm going to select with the eyedropper tool one of these green colors here. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to go in here and just kind of go over just this bottom half of the image. Like so. Now obviously, again, I don't want this whole image covered up with that, so I'm just going to lower the opacity to right around, let's try 30. Okay, well, 39 or 29, 30. What does it matter? All right. Now I kind of still want this background a little darker, so I'm going to take my marquee tool again and draw it around her. And then I'm going to hit feather and keep it roughly about 400. And then I'm going to hit select inverse. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to change whatever is outside of the circle around her. So I'm just going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, curves. And I am going to go to the RGB channel again and just pull down that center a little bit. Like so. And so I'll show you so far what we have going on. I'm going to group all of these together. You can do that by clicking on the top one and then going down and clicking on the bottom one, and then right click and go to group from layers. So you can see that's what the image looks like now. And what I might end up doing is adding a little more blur. So I think what I'm going to do is go down here on the background layer, and I'm going to hit layer, duplicate layer, and then hit filter, blur, Gaussian blur, Gaussian, and then I'm going to just blur it. We'll see here. Well, let's just try like an 8.2. That sounds like a good number. Hit OK. And then I am going to add a layer mask to that background layer. So right here, I'm going to hit a layer mask. And then I am going to hit Command I and convert it to a black layer mask, which means it now hid everything that I just did to it. And I'm just going to take my white brush and just kind of paint on a bit of the blur in areas. Again, I would be really detailed around her head normally, you know, around her clothes, that kind of thing. But you can just go in kind of where the image is already blurred and blurred that. And then I'm going to let that kind of go. It needs to blur. Okay, sorry guys, I had to just send a text really quick. So I'll delete that out in the video, that little pause there. But anyway, the other thing I want to do here is I want to just kind of dodge and burn her so that I can give it more of that painterly kind of feel to it. So I'm going to go down here and click background. I'm going to duplicate the background. And then I'm going to zoom in. And again, I want to let you know that, you know, you want to be really detailed when you're doing this normally, but since I'm doing a video, I don't want to spend forever. So I'm just going to hit OK with the curves layer. And then I'm going to bring down the center. And I'm going to hit Command I to make that layer black again. And then I'm going to take a white brush and I'm going to just go through. I would zoom in on all of this normally. I'm just going to go in on the darker areas where her hair is and just kind of like go in and do curves on those, or darken those spots a little bit. Darken her eyebrows. Wherever you see like just basically like shadowing, that's where you just kind of go in and just darken it. And you can do it on their clothing, etc. And then I am going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, curves, and I'm going to go to the RGB channel and pull up the center and brighten it. And then hit Command I on that layer. And again, take my white brush and I'm just going to go in and go through the highlights. So wherever there's highlights, you know, you obviously would zoom in and get really detailed, but we're just kind of working here quickly. I don't know about you, but I hate when I'm watching a video and I just want to get through it to the end and not really worry about all of the ins and outs. Now, obviously, this is pretty heavy-handed, so you just go through those two curves layers you did and you just adjust to your liking by bringing the opacity down. So there you go. I'll show you now like that. And I think I'm going to bring the highlights down just a tad more. There you go. So we'll just do it like that. And then, as you can see, here's the before and after. And then in these leaves over here, I'm also going to just go down to this background copy here. And I'm going to make sure that these two brushes are black and white. And I'm going to go into the, I got to remember where it's at. Oh, here we go. Where this little finger is. Actually, it's one below that. It's with the Dodge and Burn tool. I'm going to hit Sponge tool. And I have it at Saturate 50%. And I'm just going to go in and kind of highlight just certain parts of the leaves that are a little brighter. You can just go in and go over those. I'm going to obviously not do all of these, but some of them. And this tool is really cool just because it kind of highlights like whatever color you select, it just saturates it and gives it this really cool look. So any spot you want to just kind of highlight, you can go in there and do. And that's about it. I am going to do one thing that you guys may or may not have, and it's called portraiture. Oh, stop. And basically what I'm going to do is on this background copy here, or sorry, I'm going to go down to this background copy here, like the original, and then I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to hit filter, portraiture, and I'm going to run that. And I'm just going to keep it at normal smoothing, hit OK. And let it kind of filter. It just kind of smooths everything out for more of that painterly look. And then I'm going to grab that layer I just did and bring it up. So it just kind of gives it more of that like painterly look to it. And then I'm going to put a layer mask. And I'm just going to paint off the sections where I desaturated those or saturated those leaves more. So I'm going to take my black brush and go in and just take it off those spots. Again, my computer is just so slow today. And then I'm also going to take this layer and just bring it down a little bit in opacity. So we'll do about 70. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is, let me look at this and see. I think I'm good. I think the only other thing I'm going to do is take this marquee tool, draw it around her again, hit feather, and then select inverse. And I feathered it to around 400 again. And then actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to undo that one. And I am going to draw this a little bigger, like so. And then I'm going to select feather 400. And then I'm going to select inverse. And then layer, new fill layer, solid color. I'm going to put it on soft light. And I'm going to choose just a different kind of color to vignette it a little bit. So you can just go through and click these different colors here. So I'm going to choose kind of like a black color and then bring the opacity of that down just to around 50. Okay, so let's take a look at the before and after. And I'm sorry if this video was like a little all over the place. I'm dealing with messages and texts at the same time that I'm doing this all of a sudden. So again, I'm going to group this, and you can see what this looked like before and after. So here's before, and here's after. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys. Again, sorry if this video was a little chaotic. I had a bunch of messages coming in and I was trying to deal with those while I'm editing. But if you have any questions, just ask below, or if you have suggestions, again, comment below. And I hope you guys have a great day. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.